Hi, everybody, and welcome to Backstage. Again, we're so thankful that you take time to stop in and share with our guests and get a tremendous amount of information that you can pass along to your students and your colleagues and so forth. We're getting quite a library, and today we just add to this one of the big books. Dr. Myra Rhoden has quite a legacy, and I'll let her explain a little bit about that, but she's director of bands and the chair of the Fine Arts program at Fayetteville High School, which is in Fayetteville, Georgia, which is about 20 miles, I think, south of Atlanta. 2018, she was the National Band Director of the Year from NAFME, National Association for Music Education, and on and on and on, right? So the best part is she's one of our educational clinicians, and we put her to work all the time. So what is happening in Fayetteville, Georgia, Myra? Talk to us.
A lot of things are happening in Fayetteville, Georgia. We're back in school. We've been there since August. We're trying to learn how to manipulate teaching during a pandemic. And it's 70 degrees yesterday, so that was wonderful for us. We were able to go outside and do a few things. So we're doing okay here, yeah.
That's great. So let's cut right to the chase scene here. How did you get in this crazy profession? What was it? Talk to us. Growing up, how'd you end up here?
All right. Well, I'm from Tuskegee, Alabama, and my house is actually about a block, maybe 2 blocks away from Tuskegee University. Right. And my parents and grandparents worked there. There were professors there. And the marching band actually practiced within walking distance from my house. And so, at that time, kids could just walk in the neighborhood and go anywhere. So one of the things I liked to do was to walk up the hill and go and watch the marching band practice at Tuskegee University. It was Tuskegee Institute at the time. Mm-hmm. And that's where I hung out. And so I just really loved the atmosphere. My family were members of that group. And I just grew up around band. Everybody in my house was in the band, my mom, my aunts, my uncles. And it wasn't, are you going to be in band? It was, what instrument are you going to play? Oh, and by the way, there's a clarinet in the house. So there you go. So that's how I got started. And so just being around band all the time, taking trips when I was younger. As if when my parents were chaperones, it was just a part of the culture in my house. And so, I'm the only one that actually majored in music and went into, being a band director, but we always had music as a part of our family.
So from there, high school to college at where? Even though I know it's fun.
At the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. Yeah, it was about 2 hours from Tuskegee, so it was far enough from home, to where parents can't knock on the door at any time, but it was close enough to where I could go home if I needed to.
That's great.
Yeah.
And got your doctorate where? Southern Mississippi, yeah?
Yep, Southern Mississippi, and studied with Tom Friskillo there.
Oh, yeah, you studied with one of the best of the best.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the job that you're in now?
I have been at Fayette County, this is year 18.
Oh my God.
And year 27 teaching. So I taught in Alabama for 9 years before I came here.
You're going to fool around and make a profession out of this, aren't you? You aren't careful.
I think so.
You're everything that I get to talk about, because you're teaching. You're a legend. Let's just be honest about this. What are the magic things? What are the cornerstones for you as a band director? And if I say that have made you a success, you'll be humble about it. But what are those things that you constantly are focused on?
Oh, that's a great question. I guess just teaching life skills to my students. The great thing about social media now is that I get to see students that I taught 20 years ago, 25 years ago, which is hard to believe. And I see their families, and I see that they have kids in band now. So, I call myself a band grandma now because I have kids who have kids in middle and high school band. And just, seeing them realize that the things that we tried to do when they were in high school, they understand it as they get older. They understand those problem solving skills we try to instill in them, all those life skills that we try to instill in them. And then their love of music too, because they pass that along to their own kids. And you see that when they get excited that their kid brought an instrument home for the first time. So that's really it. You know, you can say it's about, you know, trophies and accolades and all of that, but it's really not. It's really about seeing your kids progress while they're with you, and then understand everything that you did when they were in school, see them understand it when they get older, even though they may not have understood it when they were with you.
Tell us how you, with your own family, what's your own family at home like?
Well, it's my husband and my son, so there are three of us here. My husband has nothing to do with music. He played viola, I think, for 2 years in middle school, and he didn't do music anymore, but he's extremely supportive, you know, comes to every concert, comes to, you know, marching competitions and things like that. He kind of slips in and slips out. My students think that he doesn't really exist, but he does, because he doesn't make a big fuss. And then my son is a music performance major at the University of Southern California. And so he aspires to be a tubist in a major symphony orchestra. So that's what he's working towards right now.
How long's he been there? USC.
Sorry?
How long's he been at USC?
He is a junior. So this is his third year. And he is virtual right now because USC completely shut down. There's nobody on campus. Right. So he has spent his junior year here. And the last part of his sophomore year. So he's looking forward to going back, hopefully in July or August.
Wow.
Yeah.
You passed that DNA along, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. One of the things, and I've heard several of the clinics that you've done since the pandemic happened, yeah, and the content, you know, outrageous, over the top. What really has got me hooked, though, is the context, where many directors have gone, oh my gosh, you know, what are we going to do? And you have flipped that somehow to make it really positive.
Yeah.
So can you just share how that mindset is for you as you go into this?
Well, right? It goes back to the problem solving skills that I mentioned before. You know, I've always been the one, if you see a problem, instead of just giving up, try to figure out how to make it work. Okay, so when we, came through the pandemic and all of the research came out, you know, we sat down and we didn't want to cancel anything. We just wanted to reimagine it. And we wanted to see, all right, what are the reasons why students, you know, join band? Why are they here? If you ask them, they'll say it's the family mentality, it's the camaraderie, it's all of that. And so we're like, okay, you know, we like to think it's music all the time, but at the end of the day, in the eyes of a 14-year-old, they want to be with their friends, you know, and they may get that musical experience. You know, they love being on stage and performing, but we couldn't do that. So what else did they have to latch on to? And every time we talked to the students, that's exactly what they said. So our goal was to figure out how to do that virtually. And so everything that we've done this year is like, okay, this is what we used to do. Now, what are the important parts of that we want to keep? What do we want the students to get out of it? And then how can we do that and be successful at it virtually? So that's kind of been our mindset the whole year.
Give an example of something that you had done, you know, on site, now it's virtual. To keep
marching band camp. We did a virtual marching band camp. So when we kind of knew, we didn't tell the kids, but we kind of knew marching season was going to be different. And we had a hard time having kids log on at the end of last year, especially when our school system said, you know, grades would stick from March 12th on. So, you know, at that point, there were students we hadn't seen since March 12th. And so when July rolled around, you know, we were like, okay, we've got to figure out how to do this. And so we talked to our student leadership team and said, all right, we do team building at every band camp. You're in charge of it. We need you to figure out how to do virtual team building. You have 8 sessions and figure it out. Let me know what you come up with. The 8 sessions were, we did our normal 2 weeks of camp. We made them super short. We ended at 2, I believe, every day, started at 9, the last 45 minutes every day, Monday through Thursday, which was different for us, was the team building. And so they were in charge of that. Our drum majors were in charge of the physical training that we do at the beginning. And the weird part about that is that I had parents emailing me saying, how in the world did you get my child up doing jumping jacks in their bedroom at 9 o'clock in the morning? I was like, I don't know. It was the expectation. You know, we set the expectations. Hey, we need your cameras on. We need to see you. You know, we want your friends want to see you. They have not seen you since March. The camera's not about you. The camera is about your friends seeing you just like you want to see them. And so we kind of made them do it. I know that's kind of hard to say in these days and times about, you know, people saying you can't make the kids turn the cameras on, but we set the expectation and they did it. And the first day, we set, you know, small increments of time, you know, 30, 40 minutes on, 10, 15 minutes off. We didn't want screen fatigue to be an issue. We still had our masterclass teachers to come in and we ran masterclasses virtually. We did our physical training. We worked on music, really more fundamentals than music because there really wasn't much music to work on at the time. And then we did the team building. And at the end of the day, we said, all right, drop in the chat. Let us know the best thing about today. And they all put, sing my friends, sing my friends. Oh my gosh, this was wonderful. And so that's when we went, got it. So the other 7 days were great. We didn't have an issue with kids logging on. We didn't have an issue with kids turning on their cameras because they wanted to feel like they were a part of something, which is the whole reason why they joined in the first place. Did
your leaders come up with some really neat ideas?
They did. You know, everybody's doing them now, but they did the, oh gosh, I can't think of the name. The, where you go around and find different items.
Treasure hunt. Treasure hunt?
Yeah, they're like treasure hunt type things. They did one that was name that senior. So the seniors and the freshmen were put in a Zoom room together. All the seniors had submitted pictures. They made a slideshow and the freshmen, they put the picture up and the freshmen had to guess the name of the senior. And that was their way of trying to get to know each other. They had I can't think of everything they did, but for some of them, they would go by section. For some of them, they would go by class and go into Zoom rooms and they'll just say, all right, Dr. Rhoden, we need 30 minutes in a Zoom room at such and such time. I'm like, okay. And so we just trusted them to do the right thing and we pop in and out and they come back and have a great time. Yeah.
This is a yes or no question. Okay. Can I be in your band?
Sure. Come on.
That sounds great to be in a community like that, a culture like that. Okay, I'm going to take a left turn on you a little bit. Talk about the Athena Girls and all this incredible program you've put together.
Well, thanks. Athena was an idea that came about almost 13 years ago. I mean, that's crazy now to think it was that long ago. It actually came about because I would have the opportunity to go around and do honor bands and things like that. And every time there was a break or at the end of a session, there would be a young lady to come up and say, you know, are you really a high school band director? Yeah, I'm a high school. Do you do the marching band too? Yeah. I think that's something I would like to do, but how do you get the boys to do what you say? Like, do you have a problem with that? No, I don't have a problem with that. You know, and so they would say things, you know, they weren't confident because they may be, you know, short in stature. They may be, you know, kind of shy. And, you know, they would always default to, you know, maybe I'll teach elementary, which there's of course nothing wrong with that because we need our elementary music teachers. But we don't want them to think they can't teach high school, can't teach college, can't teach middle school because of what they look like or because of their personality. Right. And so I would come home and I would say, you know, tell my husband, you know, it happened again. It happened again. And finally, one day he said, well, what are you going to do about it? And I went, I don't know. So we, you know, it just came to us one day. Hey, let's have a camp for girls. And let's teach this stuff. Let's teach them how to be confident. And so that's what it is. And so that's the difference between Athena and a lot of camps for kids is that, you know, there are a lot of music camps and then there are leadership camps, but we combine the two. And so we focus on their musical skills, their musicianship. They do master classes. but they also get to do the things that they may not get to do otherwise. So, our in-person camps, they would do conducting, they would do music theory, we'd have kids conduct at the concerts. And then we have a licensed professional counselor to come in and do what everybody's calling SEL now, the social emotional learning aspect. But they learn team building exercises. We do, different things to help boost their self-confidence and self-advocacy skills, and, just learning how to say, this is who I am, I accept who I am, and now, go forth and be great. So that's basically what it is. Yeah.
How many people, how many girls, how many put?
We started with 35 at our very first camp in Atlanta. We had over 100 girls to come to our Atlanta camp before the pandemic. We were supposed to be in 3 cities before the pandemic. We started our Minnesota camp a couple of years ago, so we did have a couple of camps there. But we were supposed to move to Chicago in 2020, and of course we had to shut down. So that was another one of those things where we had to think outside the box, and we decided to go virtual. So we went virtual. And the great part about that is that we had kids who were all over the country that said, I've always heard about Athena, but I just, the camps were so far away, there was no way I was going to be able to attend it. And I'm so glad you're having the virtual camp. So, we had girls from Alaska, California, Arizona, Florida, all the way up to New York, and then all coming together. And in addition to that, we have college students who are camp counselors.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did not want to leave that part out too, because those ladies grow as well. So we're like, okay, we're in this digital age, let's have some digital camp counselors. So it was overwhelming. We had maybe 24, 25 from different universities all over the country and Canada. And it was great. It was great. All the kids they're called muses. All the kids are assigned to a muse. So they have a person to look up to that's close to their age. So at the end of the day, we had 6th graders all the way through middle school, high school, all the way through college, first year teachers, all the way up to women who've been teaching 40 plus years in the same space, from all over the country and Canada. So, it worked out. So we're doing it again. So we're going to have 2 sessions this summer.
Myra, would you take a moment and share with us what you're wrapping your arms around with instrumental inspirations? Because this is part of us, yeah?
Yes. Okay. So this comes with trying to think outside the box again and connecting the girls in the community. And we know that a lot of places had, honor bands and all states and things like that were canceled. So we know that students were itching to do something. So we created the Athena Honor Ensemble. And we have almost 300 girls, middle school and high school, from the United States and Canada. And they are doing 2 ensembles, and we are using the instrumental inspirations curriculum for that. So our younger students are performing the theme. Our older students are performing the variation 1. And our muses, who are our counselors, we brought those back for the honor ensemble as well. And our faculty will be recording our variation number 2. So the students have been using those. Richard Saucedo has done a great job for us. He created the click tracks for us, and we had 4 live sessions with the kids, and they're actually now turning in all of their recordings. And so we have someone producing the video for us, so we're going to release that hopefully in the next month. But we're so excited. We have about 90 different band and orchestra programs represented in the ensemble from the US and Canada. And we hope to do it again next year, even if we're out of the pandemic, because there's no other way that students can virtually connect like this, without getting on a plane for an ensemble. They can actually do this online. So we're very excited about it.
Thank you. Yeah, Richard hit a grand slam with that one, for sure. Yeah. Saucedo did magic. Thank you for making that part of your curriculum. it's endless, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
it's great. It's more than what we thought, at the beginning, just trying to touch a few lives to say, hey, you can do this, but now it's really, really grown. Yeah.
I really admire you for that. Yeah, it is changing lives.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's what every teacher wants to do ultimately. But boy, have
Yeah.
you created an island here? I mean, literally, it's global. You can go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Okay, another left turn coming. You ready?
Okay.
We're gonna play word marathon here. Because
Okay.
we have a lot of college people that watch Backstage,
Mhm.
and so I'm going to throw you a word. You tell me how important this word is in our profession. All right,
Okay.
ready to go? Here we go. Communication.
Oh, very important. Yes.
So give me a for example. Why is it so important?
Well, especially for young teachers, it's very important for you to be clear in your communication to parents who may be older than you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you first start teaching, there people may question your skills and they'll question what you know. Someone once told me, give your parents and your kids enough information where they don't have to ask questions. And if they're asking
Mm.
questions, then you didn't communicate everything. You also have to remember that communication goes both ways. You can tell someone something, but if they don't understand it, you didn't really communicate. So, you have to figure out, how to make sure what you're trying to say gets over to the people, whether it's your students or your parents, make sure they understand what you're trying to tell them, and then make sure you're very clear and very concise and very thorough.
Yeah, you're one of the best communicators I know in terms of timeliness. I can throw something out, and within hours, I'm going to get a response, even if the response says, "I'll get to you later."
Yeah.
You know the other person's there. Okay, here we go. Next one. Trust relationships.
Ooh, that's very important everywhere. I mean, that could be with your students, that could be with, the secretaries and custodians at the school, that could be with your administrators, your parents, your community. Relationship building is paramount, and making sure that it's a positive relationship building and making sure that it's appropriate as well. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Myra, when you were talking about your band camp virtually, and here's the kids up at 9 o'clock in the morning doing jumping jacks.
Right.
I think a lot of that recipe is Dr. Rhoden. They they want to please you,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yeah.
not going to do anything that would be offensive to you. We got to please. It's Dr. Rhoden.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Right? Trust relationships, everything. Okay, here's another one. Gratitude.
Mm. That is definitely all of these words are very important. All of these words are very important. The first group of people I think about when it comes to that are your parents,
Right.
because they work really, really hard and they support you financially and they support you physically as well with things that you do. So you have to make sure that your parents understand that you appreciate everything that they do. But it goes with everything that you do. It goes with your administrators, it goes with your kids. Thanks for being here today, thanks for working so hard today. They may be little things, but your kids will definitely hear you, even though they won't tell you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to take a word out of gratitude. And for your students and your colleagues and et cetera.
Yeah.
Attitude.
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer that your band is a reflection of you. So every time I have a bad day, they have a bad day.
Yeah.
And if I look at them and I see, that something's going on, I have to check myself first. I'm like, are they mirroring me? But if I'm happy, they may not be as happy as I am, but yeah, you have to make sure that you understand that your students will reflect everything that you do, whether it's someone coming over the intercom in the middle of class. If you huff and puff about that, they're going to start doing the same thing.
Yep.
But if you are even and you say nothing, they'll do the same thing as well.
Yeah.
And that goes with everything. They'll go with at competitions. That'll go at, if something happens in class that's kind of weird, if somebody drops a cymbal on stage, if you are huffing and puffing about that, the kids will start rolling their eyes too. So they look at you about how to react to things and your attitude about things. So yeah.
That's why you will always be a success. No, success reflects success. Unfortunately, the corollary is true of that
Yeah.
too. Negative reflex. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Cooperation.
Say again?
Cooperation.
Oh, cooperation. Yeah. That goes back to, I think, reflection as well. You know, if your students see that you are cooperating with your staff members, with the other adults in the building, whether they're coaches, administrators, whatever it is, and they watch how adults work together, then they have a great model with how they work with each other too. And I have just seen it to where, you know, if they're teachers who don't have great relationships with each other, the kids will pick up on that and they will think that's how you're supposed to react if somebody doesn't agree with you, or, you know, if there's a conflict. And that's what you have to do. You have to make sure you model good behavior for them. So yeah, cooperation all the way around.
Just because this is just a quick yes, again, yes or no answer. I've come to think that role modeling is the greatest form of leadership. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm trying to say not more than one word,
Yeah.
but
Go,
yes,
go.
absolutely. You know, what you do is just as important as what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to walk the talk.
Yeah, that's right.
Good. Another left turn here. Here we go. And this may be a soft pitch and it may be self-serving for Con Selmer. How important, not only during the pandemic, which is obvious, but all the time, how important is it for education and music industry to work together?
Oh, I think it's very important. Wow, that's a hard one. I gotta give you a second on this one. Let's see. Well, the music industry, you have a wide reach of different things. The one thing I really like about Con Selmer is everything that's being done in the education department. You know, it's sort of a giving back to the community that they benefit from, for, you know, lack of better terms, because all of our students purchase your products. You know, at the end of the day, you're still a business and you could choose not to have that education side, but you choose to have that education side, which is a big deal to a lot of people, a big deal to a lot of educators. And providing all of these different things that the Con Selmer education is doing, I think it's great. It lets people know that you're more than just trying to make money off of band and orchestra teachers.
Yeah.
I don't know if
and I think a lot of
that's
people,
a great answer or not.
No, that's perfect, because
Yeah.
I think people they've run parallel for so many years.
Yeah.
And now let's build a bridge, because we, you know, this is an ecosystem. We have to help each other.
Right.
All right. I told you this time would go fast, right?
Yeah.
So as we bring this to an end here, well, a fine, as they say, what advice do you have for all of us as we take off? And people are going to be watching this, Myra, long after the pandemic is gone. But just professionally, I mean, you've been so successful. You continue to be. You create wherever you go. Magic happens. You have that Midas touch, right? What advice do you have for all of us that are in this profession as we head forward?
I would say just don't give up. Don't think that because circumstances change that things have to stop. You know, always keep learning, always keep creating, always keep reimagining. You know, similar to what Con Selmer did with CSI Connect this summer. Always reimagine, figure out what you can do, not focus on what you can't do. And I think if you do what's best for kids and focus on the things you can do, then I think everything will be fine. And the kids will notice as well.
From this side of the mountain, I mean, that's what it has to be. Because if we give up, I guess it's okay for the kids to give up too.
That's right. That's right.
So, well, you know, one of the a compliment when a clinician goes out, one of our educational clinicians, and then people follow up. You know, how did it go? And we don't follow up on you because we know it's going to be a home run. If Myra's there, we're safe, you know, and off we go someplace else to put the energy. But thank you so much for being one of our consumer family members. We're so proud of you and excited about what you are integrating into the profession. So for all of you that had the opportunity to, this is going to be one of your very favorite backstages. It certainly is for me. Myra, thanks you. We love you. And we'll look forward to doing this again for sure.
Absolutely.
Best of luck with all that you're doing and teaching everyone. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
See next time on Backstage. Strike up the band. Bye-bye.